Nanda understood the importance of balance. She'd always been the level-headed one, the cat who found serenity in the chaos of the world. But Mahat's balance was something else, a different beast entirely, ancient and profound. It gnawed at her, stirring doubt deep within. Could she really grasp the intricacies of maintaining balance in a world where every moment was fleeting? But what did she know? After all, she was just a cat, not a philosopher. With a heavy heart, she padded toward the pillar, each step cautious but deliberate. A crossroad, then, she mused aloud. Is that what we're doing here, Mahat? Some kind of choose-your-own-adventure scenario? She stopped just short of touching the glowing stone and tilted her head. All right, I'm game. Show me what you've got. The world shifted, the air warping and bending around her. Nanda instinctively lowered her stance, tail swishing behind her as she braced for whatever was to come. A soft breeze brushed against her whiskers, carrying the scent of warm sun and distant earth. When her surroundings solidified, she found herself standing in an open courtyard, vast and bathed in golden light. The sky stretched endlessly above her, an expanse of deep blue too perfect to be real. Lovely, Nanda quipped. If I were a tourist, this would definitely earn 5 stars on TripAdvisor. Her eyes, sharp and calculating, scanned the scene, ready for whatever the trial of the present might throw at her. Yet the silence of the courtyard loudly pressed against her. Her instincts prickled. The place was too peaceful, too perfect. Nanda had learned by now that perfection often masks something darker. She paced forward cautiously, every sense attuned to the stillness around her. So, she muttered under her breath, what's the trick? Are we pretending this is about peace and calm, only for a monster to jump out at me? The thought amused her for a moment, and she imagined a giant, ancient beast charging out from the horizon, teeth bared. Nanda would simply yawn, maybe stretch, and flick it away with a single swipe. But she knew better than to expect the obvious. The temple's lessons came with a twist. Her meowsings were interrupted when 2 figures appeared at the far end of the courtyard. One, cloaked in flowing white, stood still and serene, a glowing feather of Mahat resting in his hand. The other, draped in tattered black robes, was hunched over, gripping a set of uneven, rusty scales. Nanda sat and blinked slowly. Well, this is new. She tilted her head, observing them. Let me guess. You're here to represent order and chaos, right? Classic setup. Neither figure responded immediately. The man in white stepped forward first, his movements graceful, almost floating. His expression was unreadable, but his eyes glimmered with an inner light, soft yet powerful. Nanda, he said, his voice like the rustle of reeds in the wind. To understand the present, you must embrace balance. Every choice ripples outward, affecting the harmony of the world. It is here, in the now, that your decisions carry the most weight. She regarded him with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. Balance, huh? And here I thought cats were notorious for knocking things off balance just for fun. She smirked, her green eyes gleaming with amusement. So, what's the challenge? Keep everything in check while the world falls apart around me? The man in white didn't flinch. The flame of balance is delicate, he said, extending his hand. A small golden flame danced in his palm, flickering with ethereal light. To carry this flame is to maintain harmony. But the present is not static. It requires constant vigilance and adjustment. Nanda's whiskers twitched, and she felt a pang of apprehension. A living metaphor. Cute. She eyed the flame warily, the weight of expectations pressing down on her. And what happens if I let it go out? Instant bad karma? Or does the whole universe unravel? Before he could answer, the shadowed figure in black stepped forward, his movements erratic. The air around him seemed to crackle with discord. His voice was a harsh rasp, grating against the peaceful stillness. Balance is a lie, he hissed. The world thrives on chaos, on destruction and rebirth. Order without change is death, stagnation. Nanda's eyes narrowed, fully focused on the dark figure. So, you're the pro-chaos camp, I take it? Sounds thrilling, if a bit nihilistic. The idea of chaos stirred something in her, a thrill, an allure of adventure. But deep down, she felt the gnawing fear that chaos could lead to destruction. The figure in black held up the scales, their metal rusted and uneven. Embrace imbalance, and you will understand the true nature of the present. It's not about preserving harmony, but about knowing when to let the scales tip. Nanda stared at him for a long moment, her mind racing. The choice felt enormous, almost insurmountable. "So let me get this straight," she said, her tone conversational, almost bored. "You're offering me two very appealing options. Either I take this nice little flame and spend the rest of my life juggling balance, or I embrace chaos and let everything go to hell in a handbasket. Have I summed that up correctly?" The figures remained silent, waiting. Nanda exhaled deeply, sitting back on her haunches, eyeing the two figures before her with a mix of irritation and boredom. "You know, for something that's supposed to be a mystical trial, this is really lacking in complexity. I've seen street magicians with more flair." The frustration surged within her. Was this really the only choice? Balance versus chaos? Life wasn't so clear-cut. It wasn't just about picking one side and committing to it forever. The present was fluid, shifting constantly. One moment might demand structure, the next, total upheaval. Her heart pounded as the weight of the decision pressed on her. Memories surged, flashes of chaos when she thrived, and of moments of peace born from order. Every experience had woven into the fabric of her identity, tangled and complex. Nanda could feel a storm of conflict rising inside her. The fear of making the wrong choice gnawed at her, but she wasn't one to shy away from a challenge. Finally, she spoke, her voice steady. "All right. I get it. Balance and chaos aren't opposites. They're part of the same cycle. Both are necessary. The real trick is knowing when to lean into one or the other." She took a bold step forward, her eyes unwavering. "But I'm not choosing. I'll take them both." Without a second thought, she reached for the flame in the hand of the man in white. It was warm, its heat pulsing gently in her grasp, filling her with a sense of purpose. Then, with equal certainty, she took the rusted scales from the figure in black. The cold, uncomfortable weight of the scales struck her, but it was a necessary discomfort. The contrast between the two objects sparked something deep within her, an awareness of her power to navigate the intricacies of her journey. The temple itself seemed to hold its breath. Nanda stood firm, the weight of both objects in her paws. For a fleeting moment, everything was still, as if the entire world balanced precariously on the edge of a blade. She could feel the energies of chaos and order coiling around her, intertwining like a delicate dance. Slowly, the figures began to dissolve into light, their forms dissipating into the golden sky above. Nanda watched them fade, her expression calm yet contemplative. The flame flickered, its warmth mingling with the cold bite of the scales, and she felt the gravity of her decision settle in her chest. She was now the keeper of both chaos and order, a delicate balance she would have to manage for the rest of her journey. "Balance and chaos," she murmured to herself. "Two sides of the same coin. You just have to know when to flip it." With that realization, something inside her shifted, a deeper understanding of her role in the world blossoming within her. The world around her began to dissolve once more, the courtyard turning into a thick mist. Nanda stood tall amidst the swirling fog, feeling the weight of the flame and the scales, their presence a constant reminder of her recent choices. The air crackled with potential, and she could feel the temple's energy ready to test her understanding of balance. The mist vanished, revealing a bustling market square unlike the first. This one felt different, its vibrant life marked not just by a change in location, but by a shift in time. The air buzzed with colors, sounds, and the chaotic pulse of commerce. Merchants shouted their wares, children dashed between the stalls, and laughter rang out. The contrast to the stillness of the temple was jarring. Yet, even amid the joy, Nanda could sense an underlying imbalance, a delicate dance between chaos and order. "Chaos at its finest," she murmured, stepping into the fray. She flexed her claws, the wild energy of the market exhilarating yet daunting. This was the kind of chaos that made her feel alive. But as her instincts sharpened, she realized something important. Chaos, without order, could easily descend into confusion. As Nanda navigated through the market, her sharp eyes honed in on moments of imbalance. A vendor struggling to keep his wares from falling. A child on the verge of tears over a lost toy. Her instincts took over, and she sprang into action. She bounded to the vendor's side, nudging a basket back into place before it could topple over. "Careful," she teased, her voice light. "You'll lose all your profits before lunch." The vendor blinked, surprise flashing across his face. Then a grin spread. He gave her a grateful nod. Turning, Nanda spotted the child, crouching down to meet their tear-streaked face. "Hey, don't worry," she said softly, her voice full of warmth. "Let's find your toy." The child's face brightened as they followed her, the sound of their laughter soothing Nanda's heart. With each small act of balance, Nanda began to connect more deeply with the chaotic energy around her. She realized that her earlier decision wasn't about choosing between chaos and order. It was about finding harmony in the dance between the two. Just as she began to fully embrace this understanding, a sudden commotion shattered the moment. Nanda's ears perked up, instincts kicking in. A crowd had gathered in the center of the square, their voices rising in anxiety. In the middle of the scene, a stall had been knocked over, its contents scattered, and two merchants were shouting at each other, their tempers flaring. Nanda sprinted toward the disturbance, her heart pounding in her chest. "What's going on here?" she called out, her voice cutting through the noise. The merchants froze, their anger wavering as they noticed the cat's presence, a small creature commanding order. "This thief knocked over my stall," one merchant yelled, pointing accusatorily at the other. "Thief? I was trying to help," the accused merchant protested, his eyes wide with frustration. Nanda surveyed the scene, sensing the tension in the air. She stepped forward, her voice steady but firm. "Listen, you're both making this worse by arguing. You need to work together to fix this." But one merchant started to protest, but Nanda interrupted him. "No more accusations. We'll clean this up together, and then you can sort out your differences." The merchants exchanged uncertain glances, hesitation flickering between them. Nanda turned her gaze to the crowd, who watched with rapt attention. "Everyone can help. Let's gather the goods and set the stall right." As she spoke, the crowd began to stir, initially hesitant, but gradually coming together. A sense of unity blossomed as merchants and bystanders worked side by side, the earlier tension dissolving into shared purpose. Nanda felt a surge of warmth in her chest. This was the power of community, finding strength amidst chaos. Once the stall was back in place, the two merchants exchanged a tentative handshake, their smiles breaking through the earlier hostility. Nanda stepped back, satisfaction settling over her as she watched the resolution unfold. "See?" she said, chuckling lightly. "That wasn't so hard. You don't have to tip the scales in one direction to find balance. Sometimes it just takes a little teamwork." As the crowd began to disperse, Nanda lingered, the sounds of the market fading into a gentle hum. The flame in her paw flickered softly, grounding her with its warmth, while the scales, though cold and heavy, provided a stabilizing weight. She realized that her earlier trials in the temple had prepared her for moments like this. Her journey wasn't just about navigating chaos, it was about finding ways to unite people, to help them restore balance in the midst of disorder. Just then the world around her shimmered, and she found herself back in the temple, the second pillar now looming before her, its soft glow casting a reassuring light. Nanda took a deep breath, reflecting on the challenges she had faced. "I see you now, Maat," she whispered, determination in her heart. "Balance isn't about standing still. It's about knowing when to act, when to lean into chaos, and when to restore order. I'll carry this lesson with me,